and welcome to another video. I hope that everything is going nicely for you all, guys. This time we'll be taking a look at Temple of Darkness. This dungeon is kinda hard compared to the previous ones, at least the hardest levels, so you're going to need quite good stats and a decent steam. I will be explaining the mechanics of the dolls, as well as showing the best free-to-play and non-free-to-play units that you can use as always. Beating Kamari becomes quite an important task when you reach late game or you want to optimize your units for PvP. And this is because you will be able to obtain shield and destroy sets in this dungeon. Shield set will grant a shield equal to a percentage of the target's attack to all team members for 20 seconds. The more shield sets that you equip, the bigger the shield. But keep in mind that this is typically used as a complementary set. You are not going to use more than 2 shield runes per unit in general sense, okay? And destroy sets will destroy the target's HP by a portion of the damage dealt. The destroyable HP increases with more equipped sets, but the same as shield, this is also a complementary set. Usually you will only use 2 destroy runes per unit. Destroyed HP cannot be healed back, so this is very important to slowly take down units like tanks or units with a lot of sustain. As an example, units that scale with max HP will get their effectiveness reduced if you destroy the HP. But keep in mind there is a limit to the amount of HP that you can destroy. And with that said, let's take a look at the boss's skills. First of all, Kamari is going to apply tons of debuffs, and when she successfully applies a harmful effect, she's gonna use a link skill that replaces that harmful effect with a much more powerful debuff. So she wants to make sure that she applies as many effects as possible. So one of the first things that she's going to do is apply resistance down. Her attack Despair will deal damage and apply recovery received down, and if this debuff lands, she's gonna use a link skill that replaces recovery received down with unrecoverable. If that unrecoverable also lands, she's gonna use another link skill that will replace unrecoverable with undead. The attack Discourage is going to deal a lot more damage and apply blind. If any of your units gets the effect, she's gonna use another skill that will additionally apply Oblivion. And if that also lands, she's going to use another skill that applies Silence. If you get Silence, it's gonna be quite complicated to continue, so be very careful with that. Her skill Witness will pull the enemies towards her and apply Move Speed down. Keep in mind that the pull is completely irresistible, and if she hits you, her Surrender attack will follow, applying defense down and pushing the enemies back. Additionally, Kamari will apply Bleed and Poison to slowly take you down, and if the target has immunity, she's going to remove that immunity, apply block beneficial effects, and deal 70% of the target's max HP as fixed damage. If any of Kamari's enemies has 5 or more harmful effects, she's gonna deal extra damage based on number of harmful effects. So with that said, you can understand that a really good cleanser and healers are needed. Lastly, once Kamari's HP falls below 20%, she will apply Soul Protection, Evasion Up, and Immunity to herself. So units with block beneficial effects or unrevivable damage are really good in this dungeon. Because if the Kamari ends up reviving, she's gonna get permanent and unremovable attack. So please, use a team comp that don't allow her to revive. Regarding the team, in most cases, if you're not a very advanced player, you're going to need 2 supports and 1 DPS. I'm going to start explaining the good damage dealers that you can use in this dungeon, and then we'll take a look at the support options. Let's go! The best damage dealer for this dungeon is Bergs, which is free to play. This monster is given to you right at the start of the game when you start as a new player on day 1, and it's useful on every single dungeon. Bergs has unrevivable, which is crucial for this boss, damage taken up, and penetrates the boss's defense. There are other DPS that can be useful, but there is no point in changing Bergs for them since Bergs is the best option in this case. If you really want to use a double DPS comp, which I do not recommend if you're a new player or you're still in mid-game, early game, well, as free-to-play you can use Igmanodon. He is a defense-based monster, which makes him tankier and less likely to die. Igmanodon has block beneficial effects. As mentioned previously, this is one of the most important debuffs for this dungeon, and he will also apply crit rate down and poison. Another free-to-play option is Argan, that he just has a lot of damage. His damage is based on the number of harmful effects the enemy has, and additionally he will apply defense down and attack speed down. For the non-free-to-play options, I can recommend Narinha, that can also be replicated using the Water Meta clone, Masha, and Thessarion. Narinha has block beneficial effects, defense down, frostbite, and damage based on the number of harmful effects the enemy has. In general terms, every unit with unrevivable or block beneficial effects is going to be useful. And that's why Masha is also a very good unit, especially for Cliff. She has block beneficial effects. And aside from that, she will apply defense down and her damage is based on attack speed. So yes, she requires a little bit different of a build, but we'll talk about that later on. When she's about to die, Masha will dismount the ride and go back to full HP. So technically, she has 2 lives, and that's make her have a better survivability than other options. Thessarion, on the other hand, does not have block beneficial effects, but he has defense down, burn, and damage based on the burn level, which makes him quite a decent damage dealer for this dungeon as well. Now let's take a look at how to build those units. Perna, Thessarion, Narinha, and Argan can be built the exact same way, with Rage and Blade with attack, crit damage, and attack. Just focus on them having as much crit rate, crit damage, and attack as possible. Igmaladon is built the same way, with the exception that you need to switch attack with defense as his defense base. And Masha's damage is based on attack speed, so she is a little bit more stat requiring than others. You need attack speed, crit rate, and crit damage on her, and she usually uses Rage Blade sets with attack speed, crit damage and attack, or Swift Blade with the same stats on slots 2, 4, and 6. And now it's time to check the support monsters. Starting with free-to-play options, I recommend using LiQWYD and pairing her up with another support. This is because she has defense break, oppress, attack up, and heal. A little bit of everything that you need in this dungeon, but her heal may not be enough to keep you alive, so you may need to use another support to help you out. The second best free-to-play option that you can use is Ariel. He has a lot of heal, cleanse, defense up, and applies continuous recovery. And lastly Fran, with heal, cleanse, immunity, and attack up. It's not the most recommended unit in this dungeon, but it might be a decent option depending on your team comp, so keep her in mind just in case. For non-free-to-play units, the best option is going to be Louise. Her kit is very complete, with cleanse, invincibility, provoke, and heal. She can make a lot of team comps work or even more stable, so if you have her, definitely use her because it's going to make beating this dungeon a lot easier. And the last option I can recommend as a good unit for this dungeon is Ophelia, with heal, block harmful effect removal, cleanse, defense up, and if you are using a monster that places dots, Ophelia is going to provide that unit with attack up and she will gain defense up if both of them did not have those buffs already. With that said, the only thing that you need to know is how to build those units, so let's check into it. Ariel and Ophelia scale with defense, which means that you will need to give them as much defense as you can give them with guard, energy, or endure sets. You need to choose defense percentage for slots 2, 4, and 6, but you can give one rune of HP percentage in one of those slots if you feel like you're lacking some for some sustain or survivability. LiQWYD scales with attack, so I recommend that you build her with fatal and energy sets, using 2 attack percentage runes on slots 2, 4, and 6, and 1 HP or defense rune. This is because she's not going to heal a lot if she does not have a lot of attack, but she also needs to survive in order to do her job, so keep that in mind. And lastly, Fran and Louise can be built as every normal support with energy or guard sets, with as much HP and defense as you can give them. But their heals scale with HP, so you need to give them more HP than defense so they can properly work. And Louise requires as much evasion as possible because of her passive, which will give her spell shield every time she evades an attack, and her damage that she receives is gonna be reduced based on her evasion. So remember to work on that in case that you have enough resources. It is not important on early game, but if you're able to give her some evasion, do so because it can make a difference long term. With that said, we have reached the end of this video. Thank you for watching, and if you liked it, leave a like and let me know in the comment section below what you think or what other type of guides would you like to see on the channel. See you in the next one, bye!